Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Esports.net recap show. My name is Oliver Bass, otherwise known as Bass on the Pasture, and alongside by none other than Pyro J, and this is a show recapping key moments and key events from around the world of esports in the last week. And Pyro, we got to kick this one off talking about the LCK yet again. This time, the Challengers Leagues, as they have introduced their first ever female esports player. DangMoo, a very popular streamer as well as creator, has now joined their brand new team, and I could not be more excited. And I'm actually going to leave you to talk a little bit more about that.
I'm all about that. Yeah, DangMoo adding to this CL roster. It creates really interesting waves that could erupt from this. No professional background here, Bass, but as you alluded to already, very popular content creator. I see 247,000 YouTube subscribers, 186,000 followers on Twitch. I have a ways to go, Bass, before I hit those numbers. That's pretty impressive. So a lot of popularity around this player, but also highly regarded for her competitive play. Really enjoys the League Legends characters Ari and Lulu, which could bring an interesting new dynamic to the roster that she is joining. And this CL roster, this second division really of League of Legends in South Korea, Bass, is really the forefront of the next greatest players in the league. Like, yeah, it's the second division, but it's where a lot of the big names that are out there today in League of Legends esports began their journey. So yeah, the CL for the LCK, it's no joke that DangMoo is joining this roster.
It's fantastic for a number of reasons, but like you said, it really gives her a massive shot on a larger scale as well, considering the fact that LCK is pretty much the premier league as it stands for a league right now. So if you can even get into the challengers, who knows where you can go from there, especially with the international roster shuffle starting to become more and more common within not just esports, but in particularly League of Legends. So this is huge for the space. It's also huge just because of the fact that it is giving a female player a much larger spotlight, and it's something that they deserve. We've talked a lot about female-only leagues, about non-male representing people being able to have their own leagues within esports, but a lot of players would like to also be able to compete in the main leagues as well, and being able to see stuff like this. It is not the first time ever we have seen female players at the highest level. I mean, heck, you and I have talked about this before because we are in Rocket League. Karma is a very good example, as she was literally some of the best players in North America when she was in her best day. But to see this here in 2023, especially in League of Legends, it's a huge step forward, and we wish nothing but the best of luck to DangMoo for this one. And, well, honestly, are very excited to see what comes out of that. But there's also just a little bit more that we've got to talk about here today, Pyro, as we got to talk about Sentinels leaving Fortnite. They have dropped all of their players, and now as a result are going to be, exiting Fortnite as a whole. And this is significant for a number of reasons, not just for the fact that it is Sentinels leaving Fortnite, but it is two things in particular. One, it's the second time that we have seen a large organization do this within the last couple of months. Vitality, we spoke about this actually on the show a couple of weeks ago here, did the exact same thing. And two, it's also with the biggest Fortnite player of all time. It's Bugha. No one else besides him is the player that they are dropping at this point. Bugha is the former Fortnite World Cup champion with multiple millions of dollars under his name, and still one of the highest competing players in the world. So to see him, of all people, get dropped from a roster, this is a rather interesting development.
Yeah, it's him. It's Aspect. They're both being released now that this organization is leaving the scene. You don't just have Vitality leaving most recently as well. You have NRG releasing a bunch of their star players on their roster. Really, FaZe Clan is kind of one of those last big names that are still really out there and integrated in the Fortnite scene. And let's talk about integration, because that was one of the biggest challenges that this organization talked about in leaving Fortnite. FNCS, very little in terms of broadcasting. Not that it doesn't exist, just not really as much as other esports titles. That's a big pull of funds, of money, of chances for organizations to get funded through an esport, because why? There's a chance for sponsors to get screen time on jerseys, on broadcasts, on what have you. Fortnite just doesn't really offer that many chances to put your sponsor's name on the screen. So without that chance, and yeah, there's event awards that maybe an organization gets a cut out of, but sponsorships is going to be that one major thing that Epic Games for Fortnite just hasn't been able to present for some esports names. That, Bass, coupled with the fact that there's a looming recession approaching and how that's impacting esports, is leaving a lot of orgs looking at that door out.
It really is unfortunate, as again, this is more and more common as we continue to talk about this. The exact words used by Rob Moore, the CEO of Sentinels in particular here, was, as our organization maps out the future, our strategy is to focus on games that provide the opportunity to activate for our sponsors or offer team branded in-game content. Fortnite has not offered either of those. I am announcing today we will no longer be competing in Fortnite. He goes on to add on, we will therefore not be re-signing Bugha, Aspect, or Zypha. We thank our players, especially Kyle Bugha. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. It's Giersdorf, who brought home the Sentinels' first major championship with his win in the 2019 World Cup. So they're appreciative of their time in Fortnite, and it doesn't necessarily sound like Sentinels want to leave Fortnite. But like you said, there's a lot of factors that really play into this. We spoke about this with the Vitality stuff as well, where it is also not just the difficulty with being able to show off your brand, show off your talent, to show off the people and your sponsors. It's also just Fortnite's very hard to be a spotlight player in. Become Legends is a very interesting example, as they've been able to sign multiple top-level competitors over the last year who have consistently put up good results. But if you're Sentinels and you're paying excess of tens of thousands of dollars a month towards just less than a handful of players, if even one of those two players don't really hit and they don't really compete at that high level, aren't making FNCS finals and doing well within finals to keep a spotlight on them, you're not really seeing the same sort of ROI as if you were in other esports. It's something that we've talked about a lot throughout this entire show, is that for certain games, it makes sense to pay that high cost for an individual player. In other games, it's less viable just due to the way that you can sort of, the return on investment, the ability to find that buyback. So I am hopeful, as a person who is in the Fortnite scene, that this is not necessarily going to be the end-all, be-all for Fortnite. There's a lot of interesting plans in the next year that I do think are going to be huge for Fortnite, but I would be remiss by saying that this isn't a massive blow to Fortnite as a whole. Sentinels have been around for a very long time.
If you don't mind me interjecting, I mean, you say that you're hopeful that, there are good plans coming up here, but I mean, read the statement again from the one you read from, right? It's directly calling out Epic Games for not offering these very specific items that obviously these orgs want to stay in the scene. Are you hopeful that it's going to stick around, Bass, because of other things that are coming up? Or do you think that Epic Games kind of needs to answer for some of these things that are lacking for other orgs?
It's very hard for me, as someone who directly works with Epic and knows a lot of what they are doing, what they are trying to provide to a lot of these people. I think what it is for me is just the hope that there is going to be this sort of understanding from Epic that things do need to change. Because they've seen this before. Epic has started to do a lot more of this. We've seen this even more recently with Dignitas having their own event in particular, where they were able to show off their brands. They got approval from Fortnite and from Epic to be able to put on an event. But at the same time, they also had to pay talent. They had to pay for a prize pool. They do a lot. It was 25 to 30,000 probably total in cost just to be able to promote their own brand. So it's difficult. I do agree with you. I think that this is just sort of hopefulness from, again, somebody who is a Fortnite fan, from who is a professional Fortnite fan, and who quite literally is involved within the scene. But I also do understand the regards here, and I do believe that there is some blame to be put onto Epic here. Unfortunately, the reality is that if these are things that have been talked about to Epic before and they can't seem to walk around it, this is how it's going to go. We're going to see more brands leaving as they are more and more dissuaded from participating in Fortnite. And while, yes, I am hopeful, it still does scare me, like I said. So we'll have to see what happens here. I do think the Sentinels are probably making a decision that they've thought about for a long time here. Again, Bugha is no easy drop, but we're going to have to see really how that affects the entirety of the Fortnite scene in the next coming months. And, well, you're going to have to tune in next week, because that is all that we have got here for the Esports.net recap show. Thank you again for everybody who tuned in here. We hope you guys enjoy it, and stay tuned for more content next week. Have a good one.